What kind of sink do you have in your home? Is it stainless steel, copper, fireclay, or maybe even porcelain? Here's the good news. Barkeeper's Friend can be used to clean all of them. So today I'm going to show you how to use it to clean several different sink materials. Now, if you've never used Barkeeper's Friend before, you're probably wondering, why does it work so well? This works so well because it contains oxalic acid. Oxalic acid helps break things down like mineral buildup, rust stains, and oxidation, which are some of the things that can make your sink look dull or stained over time. The key is using light pressure, working in small sections, and always rinsing thoroughly when you're finished. Okay, are you ready now? Let's get started with a stainless steel sink.
Over time, stainless steel sinks collect water spots, food residue, and mineral buildup that can make the surface look dull. When I'm using Barkeeper's Friend on stainless steel, I apply the product and work it in with a damp, non-abrasive sponge. I always like to point out here that you don't need a lot of product. A thin layer is usually more than enough to break down buildup effectively. Using too much product can actually make it harder to rinse clean and may leave behind extra residue. It's better to start with a small amount, work in sections, and reapply if needed. Another important thing to keep in mind is that this is not a product you want to let sit for an extended period of time. Barkeeper's Friend works quickly, so about a minute or less is usually enough time before rinsing. If you need more cleaning power, it's always better to reapply and do a second pass rather than letting the product dwell too long on the surface. Letting it sit for too long could potentially start to affect the finish, so using it in shorter applications is the safest and most effective approach. When I'm done cleaning, I rinse everything thoroughly with water and wipe the sink dry to bring back the shine. When you're rinsing Barkeeper's Friend, always use cold water. A lot of times when people say it's hard to rinse off, it's actually because they're using hot water. Hot water tends to keep the product more sudsy, but cold water helps it rinse clean much faster. So if you ever feel like it's taking too long to rinse, switching to cold water usually fixes the problem right away. Next is porcelain and fireclay. Porcelain and fireclay sinks are extremely durable, but they can stain easily from things like rust, soap residue, and hard water. These two materials have very similar finishes, so the cleaning process is essentially the same. I pour Barkeeper's Friend and then work it in with a damp sponge. You don't need to scrub aggressively. The product does most of the work for you. Once you rinse it away, you'll usually notice the surface looks brighter and those stains start to lift. Copper sinks are a little different because they naturally develop a patina over time. Some people like that aged look, while others prefer to restore the shine. Barkeeper's Friend can help remove oxidation and brighten the copper surface if that's the look you're going for. Utility sinks are often made from acrylic or fiberglass, and these tend to collect heavier buildup since they're used for things like laundry and cleaning tools. When using Barkeeper's Friend on acrylic surfaces, the most important thing is using light pressure and avoiding very abrasive scrubbing pads. A gentle sponge and a small amount of product is usually all you need to lift stains and refresh the surface. While we're talking about sinks, there's one area people often forget to clean: the garbage disposal splash guard. This rubber guard collects food residue and bacteria over time, which is one reason sinks can start to smell. If yours can be removed, you can take it out and scrub both sides using Barkeeper's Friend. And while it's out, it's also a good idea to clean the area underneath it where buildup tends to collect. Once everything is rinsed and reinstalled, it makes a big difference in keeping the sink area fresh. Now, something I like to explain as a professional cleaner is the difference between deep cleaning and maintenance. What I'm showing you here is how to remove buildup, things like residue and staining that have already had time to sit on the surface. But once your sink is clean, the goal shifts from removing buildup to preventing it. And that's where maintenance really comes in. Doing small, consistent cleanings, even just a quick pass with Barkeeper's Friend, helps stop water spots, residue, and staining from building up again over time. It also makes your regular cleaning a lot easier because you're not having to work through layers of buildup every time. Even something as simple as rinsing and drying your sink at the end of the day can make a big difference in how it looks long term. The more consistent you are with maintenance, the less often you need to do a deep clean. One extra tip I want to give you is when you're cleaning your kitchen, always clean the sink last. Think about this. While you're cleaning, you're constantly going back and forth to the sink. You're rinsing sponges, maybe dumping out dirty water, washing off cloths, and even setting tools down in it throughout the process. So even if the sink looks clean at the beginning, it doesn't stay that way for long. It ends up collecting everything you're removing from the rest of the space, like grease from the cooktop, residue from the counters, and anything you're rinsing off along the way. That's why I always treat the sink as the final step. Once everything else is cleaned, I come back, clean the sink, rinse it thoroughly, and dry it down so the entire kitchen feels finished. It's a small change, but it completely changes how clean your kitchen actually stays. This is also why I like to think of cleaning as a system, not just individual tasks. Everything connects, and the order you clean in really matters.
One thing you want to keep in mind is this: not every stain is removable. If the stain feels smooth or flat when you run your fingers over it, that usually means the stain is etched into the surface due to minerals or heat. Now, in those cases, you might not be able to completely remove the stain, but Barkeeper's Friend can improve the appearance. As this video showed, sinks come in a lot of different materials. But the good news is Barkeeper's Friend works on some of the most common ones you find in homes. Just remember, use light pressure, rinse thoroughly, and use cold water when you're rinsing. When you use Barkeeper's Friend correctly, it's a really effective way to restore shine and remove buildup from a wide range of sink materials. And one last thing. If you're using Barkeeper's Friend on a sink not mentioned in this video, make sure you test it in a small hidden area first. And if you found this helpful, make sure you're subscribed here to the Barkeeper's Friend channel. I'll be sharing more cleaning tips to help you clean smarter, not harder.